As the fight for the speakership heatens up, it is time that we discuss who will win between Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today it is time that we talk about the speakership fight that is currently unfolding on Capitol Hill. Because everyone, we officially have our two frontrunners for the speakership. And while there were some other names thrown like Kevin Hearn of Oklahoma and even Donald Trump, these two are gonna be the ones that fight for the speakership, and hopefully one of them is elected next week. Of course, I'm talking about Majority Leader Steve Scalise and House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan of Ohio. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you can join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Alright, everybody. Now let me be clear. I 100% support Jim Jordan over Steve Scalise. Don't get me wrong, Steve Scalise would be an upgrade over Kevin McCarthy. Every scorecard has him far more conservative than McCarthy. ACU has been like 91. McCarthy was at like 80 or something. Or 91, excuse me, for Scalise and 80 for McCarthy. Freedom Works, same deal. You look at every scorecard, Scalise is more conservative than Kevin McCarthy. And I would be fine with him being the next speaker. But Jim Jordan, let's be real. He is undoubtedly more conservative than Steve Scalise. I mean, his ACU score is 100. That's perfect. And every other Numbers USA, Freedom Works, all of them. He has a far more conservative voting record than Steve Scalise. And again, I'm not even saying Scalise is a liberal or anything, but I'm just saying Jim Jordan has one of the most conservative voting records in the House. So let's get into it, because this battle is between, and I hate to say this, it is between the centrists. How many centrists can Jim Jordan potentially pick off from Steve Scalise? That's what this comes down to. Because Steve Scalise, I do think, does have an upper advantage over Jim Jordan, especially with those more moderate Republicans. Think Brian Fitzpatrick. Think cringe Don Bacon. Think Derek Van Orden. The more centrist, more moderate, even more deranged, like Van Orden, those types are definitely going to Scalise a bit more. But we'll get to the endorsement stuff in a second. Let's first read this pitch that both candidates are making, because this is important. If Jim Jordan wants to become the next speaker, he needs to find a way to pick off just a couple of the Brian Fitzpatricks. Not all of them. That's not going to happen. But if he can just pick off a few of them here and there, he has a good opportunity of winning. The battle to win the House speakership could hinge on a contingent of more moderate Republicans uneasy about the conservative politics of their two leading candidates, and anger at their hardline faction for ousting Kevin McCarthy in this week's unprecedented floor vote. Behind the scenes, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise of Louisiana and House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan of Ohio have been making a direct pitch to the more centrist members, both insisting they will make their re-election battles a priority and ensure more stability atop the badly divided conference, according to sources familiar with the conversations. Again, I think Jim Jordan could unite the conference more, because A, the conservative faction, they would be 100% fine with it. They would be like, yeah, Jim Jordan is our guy, we'll take it. So I just think when you look at that, because if Steve Scalise is the nominee, I have some questions about would Matt Gaetz do the same thing as he did with Kevin McCarthy? There are serious questions about that, but we'll get to that later. Jordan Scalise had made overtures to a block of New York Republicans who are among the most vulnerable in the House and would be considered a key prize for whichever candidate wins them over. Scalise plans to meet virtually on Friday with freshman GOP lawmakers and a separate group of more mainstream Republicans, after Jordan made his case to the latter group during a call on Thursday. They have to lay out for us a real understanding that members like me not only deserve a seat at the table, but our voices have to be represented and heard, New York Republican Mark Molinaro, who has not endorsed a candidate yet, said of Scalise and Jordan. And so, can they rise to the challenge? So yeah, the more moderate, the Republicans that are in more competitive seats, you know damn well that, well, they definitely need to make sure they don't vote on something that could kill their career next year. And I can understand that. For somebody like Michael Lawler, though I have some problems with that. But some of these other moderate Republicans, you're worried about freaking, like, the guy from Nebraska First, I think it is. It's like, what? That's a Trump plus 15 seat. You're worried about your voting record? It's like, what? Jordan's also targeting another key constituency that is seen as up for grabs. Moderate members who are loyal to McCarthy. Over the years, the former speaker has had a tepid relationship with Scalise, his top deputy, as the two were long seen as potential rivals. McCarthy, though, is staying neutral in the race right now. Carlo Jimenez of Florida, a McCarthy ally who considers himself center-right, said Jordan certainly can win me over. He is one of Kevin McCarthy's most vocal supporters, Jimenez told CNN. You know what? That carries a lot of weight. Jordan gained a key endorsement Friday from, you guessed it, former President Donald Trump. So you just start looking at it, and it absolutely is possible for Jim Jordan to win over some of these more moderates like Jimenez from Florida, which he's from the Miami area, and all of that. Because really, I think Jordan has a serious possibility of it. I really do, because there are some people that, it's kind of an open secret, Steve Scalise and McCarthy, they weren't necessarily the best of friends. And some of the McCarthy people, they may not support Scalise. They may not agree with Jordan on much, but they may like him a bit more. But either way, this is the current state of affairs for the endorsements for the speakership fight. Again, this is probably going to be outdated by the time this video is out, but as of now, it's currently 29 Jordan, 29 Scalise. You can already tell there are definitely some endorsements that stand out for Jim Jordan. Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, Scott Fitzgerald of Wisconsin. Those are two endorsements that not many people saw coming. Daryl, the guy in California, Southern California, can't think of his name. He's a bit more moderate. He endorsed Jim Jordan. And you look at the endorsements of Steve Scalise, and this could be a problem for him down the line. Yeah, he's getting several endorsements, but you look at who's endorsing him. He's not winning many of the more conservative people. It's either the moderate Republicans or the generic Republicans. There's really no in between. There's no like House Freedom Caucus members. I think there may be one or two. They may have backed Scalise. But Jim Jordan seems like he's winning the... Funny enough, he has the broader coalition. He's winning a few moderates like Jeff Van Drew. He's winning a few of the more conservative people like Warren Davidson and Murray Miller. Even some more generic conservatives like Scott Fitzgerald. So this could be a problem for Scalise down the line. I'm not saying Scalise isn't going to win. I'm just saying that the early endorsements may be, ironically, a troublesome time for Scalise down, in a month or so, or I should say a week. But how do I think the speakership vote's going to go as of now? Well, this is about what I expect is going to happen if nothing changes, but there is a big question mark about Trump's endorsement. This endorsement map I made based off of who endorsed Trump, who's in the House Freedom Caucus, all that. And for Scalise, it's people like, who's in the Main Street Caucus, who is in the Problem Solvers Caucus, which imploded. So, again, this isn't a prediction. This is just a hypothetical map of what seems like the current state of affairs is for what the vote would be if it was held, say, today. But there is plenty of time for Jim Jordan to try to pick off a couple of these more moderate, generic Republicans. There's plenty of them that he could absolutely win. In particular, Kevin Hern of Oklahoma. That could be the most critical endorsement outside of Trump for the House. Because I think Jim Jordan getting the endorsement of Trump, that solidified him at like 100. 100 endorsements probably. Maybe a bit more. But Kevin Hern, he has a lot of influence in the House. He's the chairman of the Republican Study Committee, which is the largest caucus in the Republican Conference. If he could get the endorsement of Kevin Hern, who is very conservative, mind you, he has like a 95 in ACU. Well, that could completely upend this entire map. So it is to be seen what happens with the endorsements. We just don't know. But I do think Jim Jordan, he does have a serious pathway for the speakership. But this is developing. We're only, it's Friday. It's going to happen next week sometime, hopefully. But I do think Jim Jordan does have a pathway. And I think that if he plays it smart and he tells the moderates, look, we're not gonna do what we did last time, when we're gonna wait till the last second to do the funding stuff. We're not gonna do that again. We're gonna plan ahead. But this time, we're gonna be more clear about what we're gonna do. We're not gonna force the Michael Lawlers of the world to pass, some super, conservative stuff. We're not gonna do that, which it sucks, but hey. I think Jim Jordan, he does have a pitch because also, well, he has a lot of influence with the House Freedom Caucus. And it really does make you wonder, can Steve Scalise win over some of those House Freedom Caucus members even if he gets the conference vote? I don't know. It's a big question mark, but we just got to see what happens. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.